Guys, another week, right? So since the last time we spoke, the preseason started, right?
Yep.
So the first thing I want to mention, Manny, last time we spoke, you had brought up Jeremy Swayman from Boston.
Yep.
So this week, out of the blue, you even texted me. Cam Neely just they announced that they offered him $64 million. They didn't announce the term or anything, but I looked at the video online, and man, what do you guys think about the way they announced the offer and what's going on now, and what do you think is going to happen? Do you guys know what's going on?
I
with that?
kind of know. Like I'm seeing all kinds of little
So basically,
snippets here, but I'm not.
They're going back and
100%
forth the
sure.
contract. He's asking for a certain amount. Basically, this week, Boston says they offered him $64 million. They didn't announce the term, but they came out with a press conference, and they kind of were like throwing him under the bus, saying he has 64 million reasons for him to be able to show up to camp. And his camp came back. He goes, "We had no idea they were offering us. It's the first we hear about it." They felt like undermined. So I think they were trying to turn the fans against him in order to persuade a signing. That's what I think about it. But Manny, what do you think about it?
So I think Cam Neely reached a point where he's just completely fed up. The deal was supposed to be done. From the way they were talking, by the end of the season, Swayman was their guy. Swayman knew going into this next season, he's the number one.
He had leverage.
He had leverage from the start. So anyone who says they shouldn't have traded Allmark right away, blah, 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 it doesn't matter. They had to trade Allmark. It was going to happen no matter what. Swayman knew that. Allmark knew that. Sweeney knew he had to trade Allmark. Everybody knew that Allmark was gone. So Allmark is a non-factor in how much money Swayman has leverage to ask for, in my opinion. What Cam Neely did, I think, and also when you go into negotiations, right, your boss isn't going to start you up here. Right? He's going to start you
up there.
You're going to start here. Your boss is going to start there, and then you meet somewhere in the middle. A happy medium, right? Yeah. He went in guns blazing. They went in where they wanted to start to find a happy medium. He was already complaining about that in the press right away. Like, relax, dude. You didn't win a Vezina at nothing. You've played at most 41 or 44 games within the last...
Splits,
That's the most games you've played in a season, 41 or 44. You haven't won a Stanley Cup, and you have very limited experience in the playoffs. You had a pretty good run last year, but you didn't go far. Like, you got to take the facts, right?
Hey, what's up, everybody? You're part of the family, right? So if you're part of the family, take care of one another, right? We're giving you some good content, make you laugh, make you smile. Just make us smile now. And press that like button. Subscribe. Get that notification bell. Trust me, you'll be happy you do.
Have a lot of potentials. I totally understand. He's got a huge potential as a goaltender. You could see it. He is pretty solid. I think 10 million is way too much. He's not a Vasilevsky. He's not a fucking Florida's goalie there. Bobrovsky. You don't have that experience. Those guys won Vezinas. They won Stanley Cups. They've been playing 60-plus games a season. They're veterans at this point, right? I think a happy medium. I think that 64 million that Cam Neely said, I think
I agree with everything you said. And I think the 64 million, I'm thinking it's 8 for 8.
8 for 8. Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah.
Which makes sense.
Yeah. That's one thing apparently they agreed on was the length.
But the thing is, they never mentioned what it was for. And I think that's a good deal. What bothers me about the offer is that instead of offering something that I think he might take, he did it in a way where you're just creating more animosity and creating bad relationship between the players. And like, he came out and saying, I never knew about the $64 million. You're throwing me under the bus in front of the media, in front of the fans, in order to force me to take this. You could have just offered it to me and I see if I would have accepted it or not. Knowing that, it's a good offer. Maybe he would have accepted it. So now it's causing fuel. So now what? Is he going to reject it, ask for more, ask for less? Or is it going to just set back all the negotiations back to square one? It was I think it was a bad move on Boston as a PR move in order to, if you wanted to offer him that, hoping to get it, they should have said, you know what, let's offer them this. And then if he accepts it, we'll announce it. But no, they had to throw it out and force him to take that by throwing him under the bus. That's how I felt about it. I think it was wrong on Boston's behalf. No,
I don't think Neely should have said it. But like I think they reached the boiling point where they've had enough.
But you still shouldn't do that. But he's expecting him to play for you after.
I know. But also he's been doing the same thing to them, screwing with them for like 3 months now. So yeah, imagine I'm your guy. You're telling me, Manny, you're the guy, man. Next year you're our number one. Obviously, we got to get rid of Allmark. We're gonna make some space. We're gonna give you a nice contract. We're gonna figure things out. Got to make some moves. We're gonna come back around.
Being dicked around too.
For sure, dude.
And
if you followed
as much
it,
as they were, I still don't think it was a
probably not. It was probably not a good move. Probably not a good move, but I think Cam Neely reached the boiling point where it's like, hey, dude, this is the offer. Your agent has been dicking around. This is the fucking offer, but no one's going to give him more anyways.
But now it's almost a week, okay? And there's no official reaction or answer after. The only thing that they said was, I had no idea that...
I don't believe that.
Most likely it's all over by the weekend, I would say.
No, but this is coming from the camp. So are they going to say something this week? We accepted it, or we negotiated, or is it
just going to trade him?
Or maybe, because now it's... I would have expected that they would have come to a conclusion. Nothing yet. So the longer this goes on, the worse it looks like it's gonna turn out for Boston. And the season is starting next week.
Yeah. But he screwed them. For me, Swayman really screwed the Bruins. That's not a team thing to do. That's really not a team thing to do. You're told you're going to be the number one goalie, right? Already you're like, okay, this is great. And he's the idiot who decided, I want to file for arbitration last year. Bruins offered him something last year. And then he said, I want to file for arbitration. What did you think? They were going to, dude, you're a great goalie, but we can't afford that much. They destroy you in arbration. They're going to completely bring you down and say, this is why we think you
decides if they favor the team, if favor him, or if they decide that they should get something in between.
Absolutely. But they tell you why you're worth this much and why you're not worth that much, right? So I think I'm worth this much. No, you're not, because blah, 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 blah. This much because blah, blah, blah. So, and it seems like he couldn't handle that, and he kind of held a bit of a grudge, and now it's almost like he's...
Okay, so they're both negotiating in bad faith because of
an arbitration that Swayman decided he wanted to go through. The bad thing on his part to begin with. Take the deal the freaking GM is giving you. Next year, you know you're going to be the number one guy. Start over there and be like, okay.
But do you think?
Yeah.
Think it's gonna be resolved before the end, before the start of the season?
No.
If it's not, what do you think they're gonna?
The options going like this, I think until December 1st, right?
Yeah, I know that, but the longer this goes, it's worse for both.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Especially this put a damper. The way what they announced this week put a real damper in negotiations.
Yeah,
they could have just offered it to him.
Swayman either decides, I don't want to play for this team anymore, trade me. Good luck. I don't know who's going to pay him $8 million or $10 million, because he really wants 10 apparently. I was going to pay him $10 million.
He's not going to get $10 million.
No, he's lucky if he gets 7.
Eight is a good offer.
8 was a great offer.
That's why I think if they would have just offered it to him, because you're saying they didn't know about it, I think he would have signed, and they would have they could have water under the bridge and just move forward and forget about it. Because sometimes negotiations can get
He's insulted because the number's out, and now everybody kind of knows that's the standing point.
No, he's insulted because they threw him under the bus without saying, this is what we're offering him, take it or leave it.
Yeah, but most likely, like Manny says, he knew the number. The agent knew the number. Maybe the agent never told Swayman himself.
What I think.
Yeah. But they had a number, and the agent is maybe dicking around, like, but Manny was saying, and so in the end, the number is out. Neely, obviously, he's a hot-headed kind of guy.
I believe that
and he's emotional, and it's a very emotional. Money is.
I believe you're running a business. Whether negotiations are not going the way you are, and things are negative, because sometimes things don't go smoothly, you shouldn't be throwing people under the bus just to get done. Because after, if it's gonna leave a bitter taste in your mouth. It's just gonna create more animosity for nothing.
It was a mistake. We agree.
Yeah.
It's a mistake, but that conference.
You see the video?
He's fucking frustrated.
Yeah.
All right,
He's
fucking frustrated.
He's fed up.
He's fed up. He's fed up of being. It's been who knows many months that they're trying to get a deal done, and they're not being eye to eye on this thing. What would they want? Another $500,000 per year? Honestly,
I don't think it's
what do you
only
want?
based on money. It's based on term too. Because the term makes a big difference, right?
Apparently, they agree on the term. The term, both parties agreed on. Apparently, term there was no issue.
Yeah.
From what I've been reading and following, apparently there was no issue with the term. It was just the I don't know. I believe that the agent. This is the same agent. Was it? I think.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So you know it, right?
Yeah. He's a dick.
Yeah. So he did the same thing with Marner. Just tried to get as much possible, and Marner didn't play until well into the season.
That was a disaster.
Yeah. It almost turned into a disaster for Toronto.
Yeah, because he wanted a lot of money for short term. Him and Matthews. Toronto gave him what he wanted, though. Mistake, which I mentioned our last show. A big mistake.
So he's trying to make a mistake with Boston. This fuck.
Yeah.
So
trying to make a mistake. Like the agent's job is to get the player the most. There's nothing wrong with that.
At all. I agree. You always try to get the most.
Negotiate, but don't bring it out in the media and in the fans because you want this player to play for you. So if you're going to embarrass him, it's not right. You don't embarrass your
that this is a mistake. The thing is that what he's talking about is these guys they're hostaging. They're creating a hostage situation.
Yeah.
For what? Just take the fucking deal and take it easy.
25-year-old kid making millions of dollars to play a sport.
For God's sakes, man! Like,
fun, dude.
Go get
Swayman actually and his agent started revealing numbers. They're negotiating.
Don't forget, they're agreeing on the term. He's being under contract in his prime years, so he wants to make sure he maximizes on. I get his point too. He wants to maximize on his prime years because it might be his only big contract. Who knows if he's going to get another big contract after? So this is the time. This is the contract. The contract.
What would you do? He's played 3 seasons, never more than 44 games.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah,
but this is why. I get the frustration, but I think it was a wrong move on their part for what. I was shocked when you sent me that video. I'm like, wow.
You know what I read in that video? Honestly, I felt like Cam Neely was fed up. Fed up of the dealings for the last 3 months, trying to get Swayman in. He's fed up with that. He's fed up with the media, and he's fed up with the fucking agent that they've been dealing with. Probably said.
I'll agree with that last part the most.
He probably said I felt like he was saying we've offered him $64 million. That's the way I read it. I don't think the agent was like, oh my God. I think he was like, fuck, we offered this guy $4 million. Like, let's get the ball rolling.
You're a fucking goalie. You never won like a Vezina. You haven't won
Stanley Cup.
Where do we get us in the playoffs? Absolutely nowhere. So
you won a couple of games and then you lost a bunch. So.
We'll give you this is a very good deal. And just accept.
If he would have won, it would have been like a Carey Price type of goalie, even though he didn't win a cup.
Different.
Right? Okay, but he's nowhere close to that.
No, but that's it. Like, and he said something funny. He's like, "Oh, I want to set like the standard or something for goalies." Like, dude, are you? There's Vasilevsky, Bobrovsky, the guy I can't pronounce his name from Winnipeg.
You make a good point there.
Hellebuck.
If a guy,
he's good.
if a player keeps taking less than the value of the market, it'll affect somebody else coming down the line. So, as part of the NHLPA. They want to make sure that it's a brotherhood that they protect each other for everyone's contract, right? Because it makes sense, if you're worth a certain amount, you don't want to undercut, and then you bring down the value of the market for the next guy, right? When the guy,
it's like real estate.
So I get that too, right?
But even if he was only going to get 7 or 7.5 million, still be active players the fourth highest. 8 million, he's still the third or fourth highest paid.
So didn't they also pick up?
Right? It's hard to balance. That's what would you do seriously if you were Sweeney or like, what would you offer him and say this is
what
my
they offered him was
final
good.
offer? Yeah,
very very good. I just didn't expect that the way they brought it up this week. I was like, wow, man. Then the reaction was even more negative. So I go like, you have a good offer that I think you might have accepted, but you tried to throw him under the bus. So now I don't know what's gonna happen, right? So,
I think, but this weekend, all the apologies should have been, dealt with, and apologize for all the situation.
people still saying he's getting undercut,
and just figure it out by the end of this week, and that's it.
I don't see it happening.
I don't. I agree, but
Could be wrong.
But that's the right thing to do. All these playing around.
Watch the night before he signed. But I bet you anything.
what?
The night before on the 7th or the 8th.
Before the season starts. Think so?
That'd be the right thing to do.
Might come out. If that doesn't happen, then it's gonna go way past the beginning of the season.
I'm sure at this point Sweeney's trying to smooth everything over. Listen to Cam. Don't worry about it.
And I saw the frustration in Cam Neely, but
Yeah.
I don't think it was the wrong.
I'd be scared if that guy was my boss. He's
That's
a
my
beast.
feeling on it.
But what would you do? How much would you offer him and say that's a fair
I
deal?
think that's more than enough for him. I wouldn't have given more. I think.
So you're his agent, right? Let's say.
But if I'm his agent, I would look at it completely different. I try to get him as much as possible. I'm looking at it as a person on the outside and what he actually is worth. But his agent, that's not his job. His agent is to get market value compared to whatever. So he's comparing to the best goalies and he's trying to get a little less or the same, right? Yeah. So I get it. So he's doing his job. The negotiations between both parties are not going well. I know there's frustration, but point you can't be throwing people under the bus if you want them in your team. If you don't want them, then trade him. But now you're making things more difficult to trade him by embarrassing him like that.
But I think they feel like they've been dicked around for 3 months.
That's true too.
Montreal needs a goalie, right?
They were saying that because they tried to get another goalie in the offseason and they're not. Yeah, but
would you take him for $8 million?
Not at where Montreal is right now.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth it for them to go pay him $8 million when they're not even close to being ready to compete. Stick with what you are. Continue building. You have guys that are coming up. Fowler that's coming up. Once the team is ready, you might have a goalie that's start building with the team. No, it's not a right move for Montreal. Wait and keep adding money to your players. It's not a move.
We don't need.
You don't need. He's a great goalie.
We don't need this agent either, man.
No, Swayman's a great goalie. He's got a lot of potential. I hope things end up working out. I'd love to see him in net starting when the season starts. But
is he the number one goalie?
Yeah, they got rid of the Allmark for him.
What if they would have kept Allmark?
It was the right thing to do is keep Swayman.